Can you hear me? Hopefully that's working. Let's go to 100%. 100% on the reactor. Happy Tuesday morning. Let's play a little song. Let's play a little something for you before we talk incessantly. Gymnopedie. You know, when I hear that, I just feel like everything's going to be all right. I could just visualize myself. I'm in the dentist waiting room, and I just know it's all going to be okay. 0 cavities. Good morning, people. This is coffee number 2. I'm trying to cut down, so I got decaf as well. This is French vanilla, which I swear all these flavored coffees are like the same flavor, but a different smell. It's like the Skittles secret. If you didn't know the Skittles secret, all Skittles are the same flavor. They just have different colors and smell different. The sneaky Skittle people. What will they think of next? Another interesting factoid, French vanilla. French vanilla has a secret ingredient. It's called castoreum. Is that it? I think it's called castoreum, which is made from beaver anal gland secretions. Bet you didn't know that. I guess the Skittle thing is a little bit more arcane information than French vanilla, but what can we learn from that? We can learn that we can find pleasing things in unexpected places. Now, Led Zeppelin and Bob Dylan are not exactly unexpected places in terms of finding good music, but the parallels are perhaps not obvious. So let me play something for you, and then tell me what you think is similar about them. Let's just lower this a bit. Let's get really close. This is following, so if this goes bink, no worries. Which one should we start with first? Is this too soupy a tone? You just feel it washing over me. All right, for the purposes of explanation, let's clean that up a bit. Let's use this one instead. That's not as much fun, but here we go. So, simple twist of fate. Okay, beautiful. I love that. I think it's just one of the best chord progressions ever. As opposed to, what are the differences? What are the similarities, rather? Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? So, classic. I can play that in my own house if I want to. Forget you, Guitar Center manager. So, Stairway to Heaven intro, for which they've been sued, and Simple Twist of Fate. There are others. We have a list here. But what is the similarity between and you might call this a linear progression. And what's happening here is we have this E, and the root note goes down a half step to major 7. And it goes down another half step to E dominant 7. So good. And then to A, the 4 chord. So it continues down. What was your flat 7 on E goes down to A, and that's like a sus4 kind of thing. And then it becomes 4 minor. It's so pretty. And then it finishes it out. But the point is this compositional device. The lesson here is this compositional device of a linear progression, or I read it in the book somewhere. What is this? Linear coloration of static harmony in the first and second manifestation. Snore. Anyway, the root note is going down by half step. Very pretty. And it's like, once you hear that, you hear it everywhere. And in Stairway, it's a similar thing. Root note goes down a half step, and the top note goes up half step, or whole step. Ooh, then to a D chord. So effectively. There's something about it that's so pleasing. And it's done over and over and over. For instance, let's stick with this for a while. The fact that they got sued for this is just such an aberration. You know, I mean, all in the music circles, people say, oh, well, you can't copyright a chord progression. Well, you know, I guess if you can convince people that it sounds close enough, that rolls out the window. But this, if we just forget about that high note for a second, that's a line cliche. That's like a very, very popular, I feel like such a dork calling it compositional device, but what else do you want to call it? It's what it is, really. There are just so many songs. Think Santana. Chromatic scale. It's a chromatic passage, yeah. And which brings us to another point, which is it's not diatonic. So if you're playing over this in A minor, okay, that's A minor, then this is Secret Agent Man. That's minor major 7. So it's not diatonic to A minor or A Aeolian. That would be like harmonic minor or melodic minor. So if you're soloing over that, you'd have to change. Then we're back to A minor 7. Okay, so now we're back from melodic or harmonic minor to, you know, A minor pentatonic, A Aeolian, whatever. Anything that doesn't clash works is a good rule. And then A minor 6, not to be confused with A minor minor 6, but A minor 6. And what mode would that be? Well, it would probably be Dorian. It's up here, like a real serious jazz guitarist is going to play over that is going to reinterpret it every time, or a lot of the times. If they're taking, one after another choruses of this, they would they'd reinterpret that. But the larger lesson here is Led Zeppelin's biggest hit, probably, and one of Bob Dylan's most famous songs used a very, very similar, if not the same, compositional device. Anyway, let's break. Let's coffee break, people. I don't know music theory. That's okay. When people say music theory, wait, hold on. When people say music theory, it's really like music fundamental or music grammar. It's more like music grammar. Like I can go to France and like say a few swear words and everything, but that's not really speaking French. You know what I mean? It's just like throwing words out there, and it's similar in music. Like, it's if you just ask yourself questions, if you're of the mind to like ask yourself certain fundamental questions, the theory will follow to a degree. So for instance, just ask yourself like, all right, well, what's the tonic? What's the root? Okay, it's that A. Is it major or minor? Well, all right, well, that's minor. And then, beyond that sets you on your way. I remember this one time I was at the gym and this woman knew I was a musician and she was talking to me about music and she brought up Vivaldi and she's like, oh, I just listened to Vivaldi and I'm wondering like, how is it possible that anyone could have like conceived all this, as if this, 20-minute or half-hour symphony just like was one thought, one expression, one idea that came to them. And it's not. It's like you don't have this braingasm and just think the whole thing. It's like building a house or a bridge or something. You make one decision and it eliminates like a near infinite other decisions. And there's a structure to it and a framework. And every decision you make, every turn you take down this path, like eliminates more and more and more. It's only 7 notes really, unless you're modulating, which is overselling the point, certainly, but there are a lot of rules to it. People don't just go like, what if 80 instruments do this for a half hour? Ah, cool, coffee time. Anyway, onwards. What other songs do this? In both of these, in Simple Twist of Fate and Stairway, the root is going down by half step chromatically, like someone mentioned here. You can do other things as well. So what song is this? James Bond. Natalia is waiting for you, Bond. Get the gold gun. So James Bond, or what is that video? GoldenEye. So in this one, the root isn't moving down by a half step. The fifth is moving up by a half step. So effectively A minor, then like A minor minor 6, then A minor 6, and then back down. Very pretty. But it's like once you like when you think of like a blue car or whatever, then you see like blue cars everywhere. It's called like frequency illusion, Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. If you're a dork, Bader-Meinhof hyphenated Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, or frequency illusion. So you think of something and then you just see it everywhere. So it's similar with this linear progression. You hear it once, then you hear it everywhere. Like what's this song? Sixpence None the Richer. Oh man, it's so great. So yeah, he did he know what he was doing? Not really. So that's like your other point about music theory. You don't, if you consume a lot of music, like it just kind of gets in there. Like the Beatles as well. You wonder how much somebody thinks about it, and you wonder if someone is a music nerd and they have labels and they understand this stuff in like a comprehensive way versus someone who just knows and plays and knows thousands of songs and has played forever. And these sort of things, again, if you observe them this much, they're in there. So you might not really know that it's D major 6. You're just like, yeah, it's D, then I like move that, and it sounds like more interesting. Cool. That's totally valid. That's totally valid. So there are different ways of knowing something, that you don't have to like know the terms to really understand that it's music theory. I've met plenty of people who are phenomenal musicians who don't really, know what they're doing, but they're amazing. Like Jimi Hendrix and George Benson don't really know music theory, but their stuff is amazing. Let's keep going. Other songs that use this. So far, just to recap, we have a chord, like an A minor chord, and the root can go down a half step and back up, or just down by half step and change to other chords. Or we can have A minor and the fifth goes up by half step and down. That's like the James Bond one. Or we can mix them, like this song. Let me know if you know this song. Midnight in Harlem, right? Midnight in Harlem, Tedeschi Trucks, beautiful again. And the takeaway might be like how beautiful this idea is. And unless you're really unlucky, like Led Zeppelin, you can use it and not get sued. So pretty, so pretty. So what's happening here? We're in E major, then the fifth goes up to E major 6, then up to E major 7, then back down. So this is moving by a whole step, but I think it still qualifies as the same linear progression. Then it resolves up to E before going to A major 7, A major 6. Pretty. So it goes like up on the E chord and down on the A chord. Very pretty. So ways you might practice this would be to just have like a drone note and try each of them. So let's just try, here's A minor, and see if we can make this sound like something. That sounds fine. That sounds very much like Stairway. Let's try it somewhere else. Let's try it in D. So maybe if we go. So, I mean, you might just want to mess around with different inversions. So this was root position in A and second inversion in D. And it's like my issue with this one, it's kind of high and like plinky and annoying sounding. So that might illustrate why knowing your triads is important, because you could also play this. I'm not going to drop D, but let's try it like this. Again, comprehensive understanding of it would be something more like this. Here's A, which we just did. Let's go up to the next inversion of A. So here's Mario theme. Now that's cool. That sounds different than, but it's the same chord. How does that work? Same idea, same chord, just a different inversion, and it changes the flavor. So same notes, just a different order compared to one another, and it sounds different and more interesting. You could also say that that's like C major over A, C augmented over A, C major 6 over A. All right, whatever. Nerd alert. All right, let's go to the next one. This we could put down here maybe. So you might stick with one of those and just loop it, or, explore melody options and lyrics in your mind. But the point is, we have this idea of linear progression, and we can play it in different places and decide what we like, and let that guide us as we're writing music. So what else to say about this? We have others, or do we have others? Cigarette Daydreams, sort of. I don't think 2 chords in a row and then changing really qualifies as a linear progression. But if we're to extrapolate and take this out, we're talking about, here's a chord and the root goes down or the fifth goes up, whatever. What if we just have a static chord, a chord that stays one place, then we have other notes move around it? I believe that's still a linear progression. So for instance, if we're in A again, because of the drone, sorry. That's nice. That's eerie. It's in 6/8, it's A, but it's A minor over E, which is still A minor, then A minor over F, which you could say is a slash chord, or a compound chord, or a more specifically hybrid chord. Then similarly, A minor over D is a hybrid chord as well. So there are 3 classifications of compound chord. You have an inversion. You have hybrid chords, which are, you have a chord and then a non-chord tone in the bass. So 2 or 4 or 6 in the bass. And you have polychords, which are not, they aren't slash chords diagonally, they're slash chords horizontally. And you have to have at least 6 notes, at least 2 triads together. So, I mean, that's like pretty, it's not that common at all. So let's see, we could do that, and then like this kind of thing, maybe, like, yeah, no thanks. I'm not gonna use that today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. So what else? Okay, so does this conform to a linear progression? I believe it does. So A minor over E, A minor over F, A minor over D, and that can cycle. Pretty creepy. Mad World. I can't remember how to play that, but there is something interesting happening in Mad World. Anyway, so that's like, if we take this idea of linear progression, they're like, what if we just do this with it? What if instead of the root just going down by half step, the chord on top stays the same and the bass note moves around? Okay, cool. I wish I had my loop set up. You could just loop that endlessly and like feel it yourself and improvise over it with a delay. Anyway, so the takeaways would be, this sounds cool, Stairway or Bob Dylan. What's going on there? Then we learn it. Then we kind of analyze it. So we are attracted to it, we learn it, we analyze it and see what's going on. Okay, the root's moving up and down, or the fifth's moving up and down. Then we try that in different keys and different inversions and just observe. And as we do that over and over and over, it becomes part of our vocabulary and part of just something that you really own. And it's not dissimilar to like becoming proficient at soloing. You know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's like if you like Jimi Hendrix, you learn 10 Hendrix solos. You take the licks that you like, you kind of memorize them and see what's going on within them, then be able to transpose it. And if you can do that, they're yours, and you can, you know, modify them as needed or as you like, you know, when you're improvising. But that's the secret sauce to really owning an idea, whether it's a compositional device like linear progressions or if it's like incendiary blues licks. Either way. So I'm about to wrap up. I have lessons today. We're going to be talking about, what are we talking about in today's lessons? We're talking about composition. We're talking about composing. What did he say? He wanted to work on sludge metal mathcore. So if you want to come up with like a sludge, like a sludge metal mathcore, there are elements that define those genres. Like there are elements like alternating time signatures in math rock, and then the like sludge metal thing is really heavily distorted and fuzzed and in drop tunings and had these long meandering sections. So if you know that, you combine these ideas in creative ways, and you know, it's a hit or a miss. You know, it's just like, it's up to whether all the pieces fit together. You know, if it were that easy to make a hit, like everybody who ever had a hit would have like hundreds of them. It's not that easy. You just try, and sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss. But yeah, I want to see what that is too. And then what else are we talking about today? Another student of mine, we're talking about chord progressions and similarly, like the commonality between chord progressions and what are popular chord progressions and why. So that's that. We didn't talk much about stories today, but one interesting quote I heard from Bob Dylan is like, you write your best stuff at 24, and after that, other things in life, like other people in life, mean more to you than yourself. So I guess what he means by that is like at 24, assuming you started playing as a kid, you have the right amount of like experience playing and writing, and you're still like you still have energy, and you're still turned on by it, and still like obsessed enough, not jaded, to like make your best stuff. It's like the sweet spot in life. Then after that, you can get over it. I mean, if you tour as much as he did, it's easy to get over something. I read this other interesting story that Bob Dylan was at dinner with Axl from Guns N' Roses. Like, how these famous people, how does that even work? Hey, you're famous, I'm famous, let's have dinner. I wouldn't want to just like throw it to the wind and have like a 2-hour dinner with Axl Rose. I don't know if I'd be into that. I mean, he's a cool guy and everything, an amazing, brilliant guy and everything, but I don't know if I'd commit to that. But he's saying with Axl Rose, he's like, yeah, so Bob Dylan says, so when are you going to record Heaven's Door? And Axl's like, oh, Bob, man, me and the guys, we love that song, man. We're going to put that on an album. And Bob's like, I don't care. I just want the money. I don't care if you're going to put it on an album. I want the royalties. Boom. God bless him. Speaking of being in it for the money. Well, that's not really accurate, but speaking of the money and Bob Dylan, he sold his catalog for $300 million last year, I think. Amazing. Good for him. I mean, why not? Why not, really? I wonder who bought it. I don't know. I'm sure that's easy enough to find out. If you know who bought it, mention it in the comments. What other things do we have? Or something else I can't remember. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have questions about future topics that you want me to unpack on Guitarmalade Live Tuesday mornings, let me know in the comments section. And have a wonderful day.